They say a house is just four walls and a roof, but for me it was everything. Proof that I could give my family the life we dreamed of, a reward for years of struggle, and, as I told myself, a fresh start. My name's Tun. I grew up in a cramped two-room rental in Bangkok. Every time it rained, the roof leaked. We had roaches in the kitchen and motorcycles screaming past all night. But my kids, May and Beer, they never complained. So when I finally got the regional sales job and that promotion, I saw it as a sign. We could finally move out of the city to a quiet neighborhood called Lada Estate in Chiang Mai, tree-lined streets, a manned gate, families with bikes and golden retrievers. It looked perfect on the brochure, a new chapter. We pulled in during the monsoon season. The tires made that soft hiss on the wet pavement. May pressed her face to the window. "Is that really it, Dad? That's our house. 3 bedrooms, a yard, a little swing on a tree out front." The house was painted a pale yellow, with red tile roofing and a little iron gate. It even had a spirit house out front with fresh marigolds and a tiny ceramic elephant. Nok, my wife, stood quietly behind me as the kids ran inside. I'll never forget her face, half smiling, half uneasy. "It's beautiful," she said, "but doesn't it feel a bit too quiet?" I laughed it off, said that was the point. No more honking tuk-tuks or screaming neighbors, just peace. That first night, I remember clearly. We sat on the floor with pizza boxes, no furniture yet. The kids made up a game about who'd claim which room. "I want the one with the big window." "No, that one's mine." Nok looked tired but happy. She leaned her head on my shoulder and whispered, "You did good, Tun." We're finally home, and for a moment, I believed it. I looked at them, the rain tapping on the windows, the scent of new paint still hanging in the air, and thought, I did it, I won. The next day we met the neighbor, an old woman named Kun Suan who lived 2 houses down. She stood at her gate as we brought in boxes. I waved. She didn't wave back, just stared. "That house," she said softly, "it's been empty for a long time. Strange things. The last family." Her daughter came out, grabbed her arm, and pulled her inside before she finished the sentence. I remember feeling the air shift, like a gust of wind came through, but the trees didn't move. "I told Nok about it," she said. "Old people talk too much." We both laughed, but still, she started placing joss sticks around the house every morning, and she kept the windows open, even when it rained. Nok said she heard scratching behind the bedroom wall, said the air felt colder on the stairwell at night. I checked for rats, inspected the pipes, nothing. She started sleeping with the hallway light on, said it made her feel less watched. I teased her. "Ghosts are scared of electricity, huh?" She didn't laugh. One night May, our daughter, came into our room crying. "There's someone in the hallway." She was shaking. I checked. Nothing. Just shadows from the stair rails and the soft creaking of the house settling. But she swore she saw a woman, standing still. Long black hair, wet clothes, face blurry like smoke. I told her it was a dream, told her stress and new places can play tricks. But Nok stared at me in the dark, said nothing. I kept telling myself this was normal, that all new houses creak, that new beginnings feel strange, that old neighbors gossip and kids have nightmares. But in the back of my mind, a thought began to flicker like a faulty bulb. What if it wasn't the house that needed fixing? What if it was me? They say houses remember, that some walls hold on to things, pain, secrets, regret. At first it was just sounds, a cupboard closing by itself, footsteps above us, even though all the bedrooms were on the ground floor. Then came the smell, rotten, like meat that had been left out in the sun. It clung to the back hallway, the one that led to the garden. No matter how much Nock scrubbed, it stayed. She started lighting incense just to cover it, but incense can't mask fear, not really. One night, I was working late in the kitchen. I heard a soft crack from the living room. A photo frame, our wedding photo, had fallen. Glass shattered across the floor. But the weird thing, all the other frames were untouched. Just that one. And when I picked it up, our faces had been smudged, not scratched, not cracked, just gone. Like the image had been erased inside the frame. Nock stared at it for a long time, then put it away without a word. A few days later, I ran into the woman who lived 2 houses down. She was older, polite, but nervous. She leaned in close and said quietly, "You should move before it starts." I laughed it off, but she didn't. This house, where your garden is now, there was another house there. It burned down. A mother and her child died in that fire. I asked why no one told us. She looked away and said, "Because they knew you wouldn't stay." May changed the most. She stopped speaking at the dinner table, stopped going out. She started locking her door at night. I caught her one morning staring into the hallway mirror, not at herself, past it, like someone was standing behind her. She whispered, "She calls me by name now, Dad." That was the first time I felt real fear, not for myself, but for her. Nock tried to hold it together. She really did. But one morning I found her sitting in the bathtub, fully clothed, water ice cold. She looked up and said, "She watches from the garden. Every night, right outside the window." I tried to calm her down, but something inside her had cracked, like the house had found a way in, through her. She stopped cooking, stopped talking. She just sat, watching, waiting. It was around 3:15 a.m. A scream cut through the house, high, sharp, guttural. It was May. We rushed into her room. She was curled in the corner, eyes wide, shaking violently. She kept saying she was here. She stood over me. Her hands were cold. There were red fingerprints on her bedsheet, long, thin, almost claw-like. Beer stood in the hallway holding his stuffed bear, whispering. She told me to be quiet, or she'd take me next. That was the first time I admitted it. Something was wrong, not just with the house, but with us. I told Nock we needed to leave, just for a few days, get a hotel, clear our heads. But she wouldn't go. "She won't let us leave now," she said. "You brought us here, now we stay, until she decides we can go." I didn't understand what she meant, but that night, I saw her. It was almost 4 a.m. I couldn't sleep, so I stepped out into the garden to smoke, and she was standing there, at the far end, not moving, just standing, a woman in white, hair long and soaked like she'd come out of the ground, face half burnt, like melted wax. She didn't blink, didn't breathe, just watched me, and I couldn't move. I dropped the lighter, it clicked once on the tiles, and when I looked back up, she was gone. May told me later that she played a game she found online, something stupid, one of those mirror games. Say her name 3 times. I didn't believe in that crap. But that night, I found the bathroom mirror cracked, 3 long scratches down the glass, and May, she had matching cuts on her arm, like she'd tried to dig something out of her skin. She just kept repeating, "She knows I'm afraid. That's why she's inside me now." Nock started locking herself in the bedroom. I'd hear her whispering at night, talking to someone. At first I thought it was the TV, then I realized She was answering. Yes, I understand. No, not yet. He doesn't believe you, but I do. One morning, I opened the door and found her drawing. Circles, hundreds of tiny, perfect circles covering the walls, in charcoal, in blood. She looked at me and smiled. It keeps her away, but it won't be enough. That was the first time I thought of taking the kids and running. I was packing our things quietly at dawn when I noticed the silence. Beer's toys were still in the living room, but he wasn't. His bedroom door was open, bed untouched. We searched the house, every room. Then I saw the back door was unlocked. We ran into the garden, calling, screaming, and that's when I saw the small footprints leading to the far corner of the yard, to the patch of earth that never grew grass, where the woman always stood. I dug with my hands, screamed his name, until Knock called out. He was inside the kitchen, standing there, dry, silent, holding the burnt photo of our wedding day. He looked at me and whispered, "She said we're staying forever." After that, Knock got worse. She wouldn't eat, wouldn't blink. She'd just sit in the hallway, facing the mirror. One night she lunged at May, clawed at her face, screaming, "She's not yours, she's mine." It took both of us to pull her off. We called a monk. He walked through the house, chanting under his breath. When he reached the garden, he stopped cold. He turned to me and said, "This place was never meant for the living. You must leave, tonight, before she takes another." We packed what we could. May had a deep scratch on her cheek. Beer wouldn't speak at all. We didn't tell Knock. We waited until she was asleep, then loaded the car. As I locked the door for the last time, I saw it. Her, in the window of our bedroom, staring down. But it wasn't Knock anymore. It was the woman, wearing my wife's face like a mask. We drove through the night, didn't stop until the sun rose. Beer slept in the back. May kept looking behind us. "Do you think she followed?" she asked. I didn't answer because I wasn't sure. And even now, sometimes when the house is quiet, I hear the sound of footsteps on tile and smell that same rotten sweet scent. We never spoke of Laddaland again. I never saw Knock after that night. The police found her a week later, dead, in the bathtub, still dressed. They ruled it suicide. But I know better. The house doesn't kill you. It breaks you slowly. It makes you belong to it. And sometimes, I still see her in my dreams, not the ghost, my wife. They buried her in a small cemetery north of Chiang Mai. No ceremony. Just a white cloth over the coffin and the sound of wind in the trees. I sat there with May holding my hand and Beer staring into space like he wasn't even there. He hadn't spoken in 3 days. I looked at Knock's photograph on the altar. Her smile felt distant now, like someone I'd once known in a dream. I wanted to cry, but nothing came out. Just a quiet, hollow ache in the center of my chest. We moved in with my sister. A small apartment on the 7th floor, noisy and cramped, but safe. I got a job delivering furniture. May started school again. She smiled more often. Beer, well, he never talked much after that, but he drew. Always the same thing. A house with 3 windows, 1 tree, and a black shadow standing in the garden. I asked him once, "Who's that in the picture?" He said, "It's where Mommy lives now." A year later, I went back to Laddaland. I don't know why. Maybe to prove it was just a house, or maybe I needed to see it again, to face whatever still haunted me. The gate was chained, weeds everywhere, the windows broken, walls stained black. But the strangest part, the lights were on, soft yellow light glowing from inside. And movement, shadows moving behind the curtains. I didn't go in. I couldn't. But as I turned to leave, I swear I heard her voice, Nox's voice. "Where are you going? Dinner's ready." A few weeks ago, I was cleaning an old box of things we left behind. Inside, I found my old voice recorder, the one I used to keep family notes. I played it back for nostalgia. Most of it was harmless, grocery lists, reminders, but the last file, it was recorded the night before we left Laddaland. I didn't remember pressing record. The audio was full of static, and then a voice. "You can leave the house." A pause. Static again. Then, "But the house doesn't leave you." I deleted it, but I still hear that voice in my dreams. Sometimes when May laughs, I think of the first night we moved into Laddaland, when everything still felt like a new beginning. And sometimes I wonder if that was all the house needed: hope, a family, an opening. Because Laddaland doesn't just haunt you, it feeds on you, your fears, your regrets, your love. And maybe that's the scariest part. The real ghosts aren't always the ones you see. Sometimes they're the ones you bring with you, and they never leave.